be a lot to do on the difference.
Is it the Zoom numbers, whatever?
I think it's an hour and a half. That's what it said, but it was supposed to be. There's a lot of very vocal pregnant.
You said you go by weird.
Yeah, I'll see if we make it to the doctor schedule us for today. Then I might just text my kids tomorrow for sure. And then I'll come to the so that we can do it. And then, yeah, you do the job. Yeah. Saturday. Yeah. I have 17 songs. That's as long as concert is.
Hey,
I just have 17. Roger and I have 17. Yeah. That's a lot. So I've got through 8 songs. So I feel good about 8. So yeah, tomorrow will be literally like going through the rest of it.
Oh, I wasn't going to be dialed in over here.
Everything doesn't start until what time do you leave?
Yes.
So it takes me a minute to get
That
to
was
it.
my first one, so I think. So
What was your question?
call back.
Yeah, you're right.
Doors slide.
I was saying
Or 5.
Shoot up kind shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
If this is done, I should go back.
PJ Coffee. How you doing?
It didn't call that way. Yeah, I don't have any of that.
I think since that said we could have, I feel
They look good back there, but they seem like it's gonna
right.
You're 0 for 2 on that one, but
You look better than Dave. Yeah.
okay, you 1 for 1 on that.
Yeah, you look better than Dave. Hey, as long as you look better than Dave, I'm cool. Dave won't play like he was that both times around. Glad you put this place.
Man, it keeps me around. I stopped coming so late.
Yeah.
He put a side eye.
I'm still.
That's all it's there. Hey, you know what? I guess. All right.
I'll mark it. Do you want?
Don't worry, man.
Hey everybody, I've talked to most of you, but we are going to be a little while here, so if anybody has other places they need to be, we can call you back.
How much is a while?
Hours? I don't know.
More than half an hour.
More?
Yeah.
More than how many hours?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right, thank you.
But I would imagine probably more than an hour.
More than an hour.
Will you be bringing lunch in for us?
Yeah, I just want to let you know. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for you, more than 3 hours. More than an hour. All the other
hey, so they're guessing that this is not going to start right. I don't feel like we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the time we leave, it's
That's good, Patrick.
yeah, just like
So you can survive.
We will try to do more of that.
But kind gently offer to, I need that back.
Okay. Make sure it's still there.
And then we
Oh, okay.
Advisory.
When we met.
Yeah.
Yes.
Olivia came to take care.
I think. All right. So how much? Right. So how much of that recharge? Just inside the group.
Yeah, we need to travel.
I mean, are the other in the morning? Or the morning before this
Yeah.
call? Just me. So I'm telling the whole story. So she got DO from last night. She pulled us.
I was in DPR one at a time, but that's just me.
One thing done.
Good.
Notepad out.
Anything good in that stack machine there? Anything good in the stack machine?
Hey, all right. So you heard this press conference?
I haven't heard it.
Well, more than, we've been told more than an hour. So it's not gonna be a good.
So you live in Richmond?
So I understand.
I live in Richmond.
Where?
Have a sound back there.
I live with Berry Lane.
Yeah, family.
Yeah, Hillsborough.
I saw how many have the deal.
Hey, neighbor. Yeah, we'll be here. We'll keep you screaming.
It's your turn to bring donuts.
I'll make that happen. Mr. Plater.
What's up, Scotty? Back? See you, baby.
All right, baby.
One day we did
Nice to meet you, Chris. You with
OCD up in there.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. You been here a long time? I seen you.
No, I was with MSNBC, CBS.
Oh, okay.
I still wait to see it running. I did this week with John's big car.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's always good.
Yeah.
David Searles.
David Searles. Okay, so you work with Tiffany.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'd love to see you.
Perfect. Thank you.
It's okay. Stay right here. I don't bother me.
No, I'm just saying.
The only thing that's gonna bother me is cigarettes.
No, I'm moving.
I'll take a check. All the fun. All the good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
So they're gonna have to go.
I missed that. I missed the days of talking church.
For sure. Yeah, you got it.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do we keep going? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. You're welcome.
Yeah, hey, no work for you today.
Got it. Thank you.
Perfect, yeah.
But one of you is tall, thin, and fit.
Well, I don't know about fit.
From the same ship.
And somebody has to taste. Don't forget about the old ass creek. All right. Nothing like it.
Hello. Hi.
The mayor, the FBI staff, and maybe the chief. Trying to guess who might be here with us.
You said chief, chief.
Yes. Yeah, I don't picture her showing up without the police chief. Right.
Okay.
Excuse me, were you with us last night?
Nah, this is the same bunch from last night.
Okay. Do you still want me to
Yeah,
use this
yeah,
Jewish
yeah,
Federation
somewhere
sentiment?
else.
Down with that. Okay, I logged it, so I'll just send her my log, so he has that. And yeah, if you could just send me the link, I'll look at that now while I'm sitting here. Yeah, can you just email me that link? Sounds good. And then if you guys can ask Jack, I mean, we'll eventually get out to the scene, but if he's showing stuff, flowers, things like that, you can just send it to a pretty
35
loud-
in a row. Before anybody scored.
Sketch out.
Everywhere I go.
Yeah, it's still narrative.
We go so far, so you can kind of cobble
Repeat
Sounds
together
good.
yourself on there.
just a little.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Story to sound bites on it.
All right, thanks.
You sure it's cool? I feel like it's all.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Get paid to do that.
He said,
No.
you just
I'll volunteer.
Okay, yeah, no, okay, I don't think I've even, that's a good idea. Okay.
And you probably want to put your sticks, the two legs the other way, just makes it easier.
The access.
So you're not falling back on the other leg. You know,
Right, right.
The steps go over right here. Alright, so if you spin your legs and tuck it in. You know what I mean, like right here.
Yeah.
Just right here.
Oh, it's fine. You have the time, please. Like this away?
Yeah.
And then, okay, oh, so there's a little.
One step you can do like this high.
Yeah.
You go full height. And you go this much.
Wow, thanks.
And you get an extra shot, which is the wide shot and everybody.
Yeah. Right on. Okay. Thank you. Wow. That's really cool. I thought I started carrying multi-tools. Look at me, but that's so much fun.
I got a lot of those taken away by TSA, so.
Yeah.
I saw every one of them online somewhere.
The multi-tools, you find them online?
It just does that once.
It's just snap them in. Okay. Moving.
I'm Greg Butler.
Hey, I'm Ruth. I live too.
Cool. Yeah.
Yes.
We met.
Oh, yeah, I was looking at that. Until like 21.
Up in Baltimore, you were discouraged.
Yeah. The riots?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where we met? Yeah, because I just started there, like, a couple weeks before the riots started, because I came from Charleston. So I worked there for, starting in 07, and then I went up to the BSL. No, the other one, the CAB, was like a multi. And then, yeah. So, yeah, that's
Well, that's a pretty good crash course in Baltimore.
Yeah. And it was so good.
But they're coming back.
It's like very, very, very
City council.
yeah, so many meetings.
So no, it's not walking. Search for free.
Yeah, more like
Do whenever it is.
radio stuff.
You have other things you need to do.
I can actually stuff here.
They're great.
So I got enough people running around and
What do you want to do?
stuff and
We've seen it.
Yeah.
yeah, the app here knows how many people we're actually in. All the way to the Kings and all the rest.
Yeah, you're in touch with destination DCs.
We're getting behind now. Ties.
They track that number. You have an actual welcome for the second note now.
I never used to talk to her.
Yeah,
They're independent.
we've been to a few things already, like, that was out here.
Adamantly
Went
neutral,
to
especially local.
an hour district. The difference between just at home, right, also I do need to figure out whether they're in a Latin Spanish citizen, doing their own thing to everybody.
Let's change it to Costco and Costco. Like, I've seen this COS logo, but that's different from Costco, right?
Yeah, this is
Okay. It's just a brand, it's not related to Costco.
Yes,
Okay. I've seen it, I threw me off.
Black Friday.
Yeah, they're done, but they're great. I mean,
That's awesome.
I think you have around the house.
It gets tricky though, because there's like only so much space in the car for all the stuff that one has.
So like I said, just
Yeah.
One
Yeah, I didn't know. I know.
So, you think that after I finish this new live shot, I got time to walk 2 blocks to my car, get my computer?
I do. I do.
Car wash.
I think I got time to go play 9 over at Haynes.
Victoria.
4.
I hear you, yes. Yep.
So you want to get into the slideshow.
Huh?
Still, they want him getting out of the slideshow.
You and me both.
Yeah.
I need you. There you go. You go. I have to. Wow, I'm at work right now. Would I be able to get another deal?
gotta move some things around. How long?
Yeah.
You gotta.
Yeah, look, so we're inside the district building. We were told that there would be an 11:30 press conference, as you said, with the mayor, the police chief, as well as someone from the FBI. We've now been told that has been delayed. We don't know exactly when that's going to be, so that's why we're in here. But let's run through a little bit about what we know about what happened last night. So again, you mentioned the couple. They've been identified as Yaron Lashinsky, he's 30 years old, Sarah Lynn Milgram, 26 years old, both employees of the Israeli Embassy. And what we understand was happening was last night they were attending an event for young professionals with the American Jewish Committee at the Capitol Jewish Museum. That's at 3rd and F Street, basically right next to, right behind the Washington field office of the Bureau of Investigation. Well, the couple was leaving at about 9 o'clock when they were confronted by a man who pulled out a gun, opened fire, and they were shot and killed right there on the street, right outside that museum. Well, that man, who's now been identified as Elias Rodriguez, 30 years old, from Chicago, he went inside the museum. Security guard told to let him in. People thought he was distressed. They didn't know why. He told him to call police. When police arrived, he said he's the one who did it. He was put into handcuffs. He yelled, "Free, free Palestine." So the FBI last night saying that they believe that this was a targeted attack. We have a little bit of what Police Chief Pamela Smith said at the presser last night as well. Yeah, and you just saw a little bit of that video, and you heard him yelling when he was in handcuffs there. A lot of the people at this event witnessed that part of this alleged crime. So this is being handled by Metropolitan Police as well as the FBI, and I can tell you there's interest in this at the very highest levels of the government. The president has put out on social media about this, and I was at the crime scene a little while ago and saw Attorney General Pam Bondi there. She was watching with great interest. So we're going to be on this all day long. We're waiting to see what we learn from this press conference, when it happens, and so you can stay with 7 News, and we'll certainly have the very latest. At the district building, Brad Bell, 7 News. All right, let's look at our computers.
I'm going to tell them I'm power down.
Well, I mean, Chris can shoot it for us. Chris, could you please, if this starts before we get back from our cars, would you call in TCR, fire up the live, you talk to the producer and let him know it's coming? It's still locked.
Usually you'd be too busy eating snacks. Well, snacking it up. Hey, this is Dale. Can you guys, is Sonia around? Let's talk to her real quick. Hey, Barry, so real quick, so this is going to be a while, so I'm going to power down here and go get my computer plugged, start downloading video and stuff, but we're not going to be up for a while, so I don't want to burn battery and burn all this time. So we'll be up way before the press conference. At the Wilson Building. Yes, over an hour.
He's basically in charge of all the those.
Yeah, we'll pop back up about 10, 15 minutes before the press up. When they say they, we get all that back up. All right. Yep, bye.
Yes. I shall return.
I put my first pair of glasses. I was working with taking pictures. Got exposure over to the park. Good to tell about it. I'm scared of them.
Chris, I need your credit card real quick.
When they think I got a credit card. Your
What's that? Chime. I need your Chime's credit card.
I don't know what that is.
Debt relief credit card.
Is it an hour?
Oh, okay. I don't want to speculate.
Nah, this for the dog.
I honestly know when you know.
I'm a dog owner.
Yeah, oh, I see.
Yeah.
What breed of dog?
Lots of opso.
Oh, nice. What? Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
That dog and the pit bull, those two dogs kind of fight me a little bit. Only those two. I didn't any other dog. Come on. I'm on.
Yeah.
Those
Because
two.
he's just like an ankle biter, kind of.
Yeah.
But he kind of slowed down.
I got another name for it.
He's getting older now.
Yeah, because he's kind of up there now. So.
Oh yeah. What color? What color is he?
Like blonde, but he's graying a little bit, like around his neck.
Okay, just like me.
And his paws turn white and all that.
I got you. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Chumley.
Chumley.
That's perfect.
Yeah, my wife and her grandmother adopted him from that shelter on Rio Gap.
Oh yeah. Nice. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, we had a little one and we had a bunch of big ones, and it was the little one was on death row in Montgomery County. When you turn your back on him, he'd be an ankle biter.
Well,
and people would be looking at my other ones because they were Rottweiler Shepherds.
Yeah.
And they were big, and they're like, oh, they scare me. They're waiting for you to pet them. The one you better watch is Hannibal Lecter over there.
Yeah. Just a rabble rouser.
Yeah.
That's why I like it.
Exactly.
Right. I call him Homeland Security.
Yeah, because somebody walks up to the house, He raised so much sand, they think that I got a lion in the house. That's all, and really, that's all you need is something to let you know that there's somebody outside. Because the other ones, they don't. My other ones, they don't bark. They want stuff to come in.
Thank you. I try to be.
Don't chase them off, let me.
And she enters the room.
Right. I couldn't quit y'all. I don't know how to quit y'all. I'm tired. Hey. Here. Oh yeah, well I know. Allegedly. But they also might just go over there. Mayor's here. They held it at place everybody. Everybody would be. Kamali, Judge Lee. She's still my judge. Judge Lee was there, and Bongino showed up. Pam was there, Mayor was there.
Right.
Yeah, I was there.
No, before the big, okay, take it right.
Your parents were letting glue up. I just got your dad a camera operator.
Yeah, they pulled,
Reporter. Big name in Louisville.
they pulled Kevin.
Last time Tony and I were there.
That's when he walked over in Orange.
Kid there. Phone open. Contact for the hospital we were shooting at. Yeah, I told him.
He walked
Your
over.
name. You were from here.
I was like, I tried to get my Uber back to the hood. I'm just like, I'm gonna walk with you there.
I knew so instead. Huge.
Your rain wasn't heavy though. And then we relied on
Alright, they went to order taco.
yeah.
Can you remember the area we were in? East side.
Yeah, they just freaked out about that. We went to
Oh, it's so bad. Not a bad man, but you know, it's just hope that the phone don't.
With cable? But which iPhone?
I got an iPhone, but I didn't bring it.
I have one in the car. I'll give it for you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna expect
There's a stack room.
You went back over there.
On the other side.
That's the hospital.
I ordered the thing online and walked over.
So you were there.
Was that anywhere else? My car.
Recently. Not a month or two ago.
Yeah. You guys go through It's the point you get on the steps, right? Yep.
Illegal?
Bring another chair, might be able to, make sure that sleep in there.
My son had some certificate ceremony at judge. This morning, I'm doing with him. I thought it was going to be, he's in the culinary arts. The culinary arts.
I know.
Graduation. He was not expecting any
Yeah, I
of
went home last night. I went home
tied up.
because I had to drop security back at the bureau. And I had to
Was it said that beer?
I'll leave.
no beer.
He said, cool.
I think I don't know if he may have done it from the robo can. I don't know. It was just me.
He was from the last group.
I was shocked to have a crew.
It's a good thing I stayed there.
Hey,
17. Oh. But this is just for the culinary. But he's got another year.
1:30. 1:15. It was 1:15 because I stopped at when it was.
It's funny. You always think the kids, it wouldn't matter to them if you're there. Like from me, so I didn't even, I'm not gonna skip graduation. I'm going to high school. Yeah. Well, it's a thing. But, high school graduation, I went to a private high school, small class. So we were in Alexandria.
That we need to find each other and stand with each other and support each other and have compassion for each other and love each other. Aaron opened beautifully just a minute ago by singing one of the Psalms about the brokenhearted. And today I can't hope but believe that we Americans are brokenhearted. 2 young souls murdered, Yaron and Sarah. We are brokenhearted for them and for their families. We are brokenhearted for all Jews in America who don't feel safe in this moment. We are brokenhearted for all of us in America who don't feel safe because of the ways that we are marginalized or oppressed. And then we remember, Yerim Imadi. As the rabbis teach, sometimes we can feel like we are strangers, but when we connect with each other, even in these most deeply painful and incomprehensible moments like the one we're standing in right now, we are no longer strangers. We are one.
Thanks, Rabbi Sony. I'm Rabbi Scott Perlow. I'm the rabbi of Dot Shalom Synagogue in Bethesda. I'm happy to see my community here. So, Yaron and Sarah were standing right over there. And I'm going to ask you for a moment to do something terrible, which is to imagine the last thing they ever thought. We are, all of us, a kind of like completely unreconciled complexity. We have love in our hearts and we have hate in our hearts. We're good and we're bad and we're ugly and we're beautiful. And we combine all those things together. And there's a piece of us that follows our political beliefs and sort of takes our side, and a piece of us that also sort of knows that it's wrong. And all of those things are rolled up into one. And we are a kind of wondrous complexity. And then it gets simplified when you stand on the other side of a gun and someone pulls the trigger. Is this the kind of concrete sentiment that it desires? To make things so simple that they can be represented largely by bullets. I have no desire to live in such a world. And I don't care what the politics are. I will fight that world till I die, till my dying day. Because what it does is it takes beauty and it erases it. And it takes complexity and sweeps it off the table. And it takes 2 young people who had the whole of their lives in front of them, and it murders them. It literally murders them. There are words that end at the end of a gun. And those are the kinds of rhetoric that we've been hearing all over the place, so that somebody shaking with the righteousness of his cause can come and shoot 2 people he knows not at all, who left a peace event. And if you're not enraged, you should be. And if you're not brokenhearted, you ought to be. How can we stand here like it's normal? Like this is our world. Don't you want something better? Aren't you willing to fight for it? There's these lines from the Book of Lamentations. Those of you who've been to Tisha B'Av, you hear them. They're from the 4th chapter, and when you sing them, and at least in the Ashkenazi mode, they have that like horribly mournful sound that kind of fills every room of your heart. Eicha you am zahav, and your heart drops. And if you understand the words, it says, how is it possible that gold can lose its luster and that precious gems can be spilled on the street corner? Because that's what happened to the children, B'nai Tzion, last night. The children of the Jewish people, the children of Israel, whose blood spilled like precious gems on the street corner here. That's the truth of it. You can't wrap it up in nice paper, and you can't put a bow on it, and you can politicize it all you want to, but the reality of Yaron and Sarah's death, think of their families. Think of the life that they were to have. Deep down, the question is not, are you right or are you wrong? Is the side you stand on right or wrong? It's, are you willing to make this world what it ought to be? Our history as a Jewish people is so long that we have a song for this moment. Can you believe that? We've experienced this over our history so much that somebody literally wrote music and a prayer for what happens now. So, for those of you who know the words to Achenu, we're going to sing it. If you don't know the words, don't worry about it. Being here is enough. Hanatunim betzara, betzara uveshivya, haomdim bein bayam uvein bayavasha. Achenu kol beit Yisrael, Israel, Hanatunim betzara, betzara uvashivya, haomdim bein bayam uvein bayavasha. Amakom yirachem, yirachem aleim, veyotziem mitzara. Bangala uvizman karim, yai nai 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 nai, yai nai 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 nai, yai nai nai nai, yai nai nai nai, yai nai 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 nai, yai nai nai nai, yai nai. House of mourning, you do not say hello and you do not say goodbye. This is the end of our vigil. There's an opportunity to leave messages of love here for them. Along with stones, this is our custom.
Check. 1, 2.
For sure.
Lighter. Yeah, I think it's Geico lighter.
Geico lighter?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So what we're going to have to do, though, is depending on how long this goes, we have to get back over there or a little before, so I know, it's like this is going to be very, very tight, and what we're going to end up doing is I may end up shooting this on an iPhone, potentially.
Was that fed live?
Yeah.
Oh, was? Okay, good. Because I'm going to tell them 1224 is a song that they were singing.
Rem 246.
Rem 246, thank you.
It might have dipped into it, I don't know.
I know. So, okay, I know you don't work for the ambassador, but do you know how long he's going to chat for? Because then we have to like get back over there for the members.
The staff said just a couple of minutes, 5 minutes. And usually I don't believe when people say short, but they have security issues and concerns, so I don't expect them to be out in the
Beg your pardon, excuse me.
Yes.
Embassy security is here if you want to point out to me.
Yeah, could you?
The woman in the black with the golden glasses on, she's from the embassy security.
Okay.
So if you want to ask her that question.
That would be great. Okay. Once I send this out, I can
Might not tell you
focus on
guys.
that.
It's worth asking, right?
Yeah.
Silver sunglasses. Cold, okay.
Colleagues and I have come to lay a wreath.
Rina, if you would join me.
Yeah. Okay, bueno, sí. ¿Cuánto costó?
Let's all back up. Let's all back up. Let's all back up. Let's all back up.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Carlos Campo. I serve as the CEO of the Museum of the Bible here in Washington, D.C. And we have come, my colleagues and I have come in solemn memory for Yaron Lashinsky and also for Sarah Milgram. As representatives of the museum, we believe that museums, by their very nature, should be places of inspiration, and they should be a haven, free of violence and free of hatred. But we've also come in solidarity for our Jewish brothers and sisters, also knowing that we believe that all people are created in the image of God. And we believe that the violence that occurred here last night is a reflection of the anathema that stands against what the Bible stands for and what we stand for as a people. So we have brought a collection of our staff members from the museum on a prayer walk here, and we're going to lay a wreath in solemn memory of those who've been lost, but also as a banner of hope for the future, so that the violence and the hatred that was reflected last night would not be the memory of this wonderful place, but instead we would remember it for the connection that we have with them. And I'd like my colleague Rena Oper to just briefly talk about the connection we've had to this museum and then offer a prayer in Hebrew for the slain as well.
We have been colleagues with the Capital Jewish Museum for many years, collaborating on projects related to Jewish holidays and traditions. They've supported us in giving us photographs from their archives and working with us on programs, and we hope to collaborate further in the future as well.
Thank you, Rena.
Sim shalom to Bayu Bracha, Chaim v'chesed v'rachamim, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael amecha, Orcheinu Avinu kulanu ka'echad b'or panecha, ki b'or panecha natata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Torah Chaim v'avat chesed, v'tzedaka v'bracha v'rachamim v'chaim v'shalom, v'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit v'chol sha'a v'shemacha, Baruch atah Adonai mevarech et amo Yisrael v'shalom. Prayer that Jews say 3 times a day. Grant peace, goodness, and blessing, favor, kindness, and compassion upon us all, your Israel, your people. Bless us, our Father, all of us, who with the light of your countenance, you gave us, our God, a Torah of life and a love of kindliness, righteousness, blessing, compassion, light, and peace. And may it be good in your sight to bless your people Israel at all times and at every moment with your peace. Blessed are you, God, who blessed his people Israel with peace.
Before we lay the wreath, we invite anyone who feels comfortable to join us in praying the Our Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. I'd like to lay a wreath each for the 2 slain in our house.
He was saying.
I got you. I got you.
עכשיו נותן רק הצעה קטנה בעברית. I don't see him yet.
אליעז, אני עולה לו מדרגות לפני זמנת גובה. Who are you? Until here. Thank you very much.
Probably that big SUV. This is, I don't know if you can see this, but he looks like that. Yeah.
Oh, let me see that again.
Looks like it. It does, but no. I'm really bad. I have like facial blindness. Don't tell me that.
Guys, I need you to go back, please, okay? Cooperate with us. It will take 2 minutes. Just go back. Because it's going to be
where
I'm standing right now.
Okay.
push more back, push more back. Thank you very much.
We'll get down. I tell.
People in the back gotta move back.
Still guys were gonna duck down in front of our video.
Yeah, I know, but still.
No, you tell us. We'll keep back.
Everybody 2 steps back, please. Everybody
Guys, we
back.
all gotta back up. We all gotta back up.
We're going to do it. Hi, everybody. We still have a couple of more minutes to come. The ambassador is going to give brief remarks. He's going to start in Hebrew, okay? Brief 2-3 minute statement in Hebrew and then English. And we might have a few minutes for a quick Q&A, okay? This is the frame. He's going to stay here.
Thank you, Tal.
Thank you.
Nick, you wanna come here?
I'm not worried about you at all.
השאלות אחרי זה כולם ביחד, או את צריכה תשובה
Stay low.
Tom, where'd you go?
Give me the high sign. I'll move.
טוב, אנחנו יכולים לשים שם, אני רוצה...
וזה תארק לגולה, זה רואה כעס. מפקרה שערים תרופות Oh yeah.
El negro que está primero, ok, de Ford.
El peladista de
seguridad. Vale.
Said that they think he's going to depart before the members come. Like, we're on the other side of the curve, so Harry and I have to get back, mount our mic, all that stuff. So, yeah.
I will touch down. Not all the way. No, I'll make sure. No, I gotta make. I'm gonna give him two.
Ahí sale.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir. We'll do our best.
So I've been talking to him about Schultz's guys this year, and I told him what's going on, and he said he's going to tell me that they're not going to wait. But he said that they think that they're and I'm going to need like 4 in order to get my camera back over there.
Keep back, okay? Don't come forward. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll send out a quick.
Good afternoon, everybody. Tzaharaim Tovim. We're here with Ambassador of Israel to the United States, Ambassador Yechiel Michael Leiter. He's going to give a brief statement about the heinous murder happened last night. We lost 2 members of our family, the family of the Israeli Embassy in Washington, Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lishin. Ambassador Leiter is going to give a brief statement in Hebrew, followed by a statement in English. Ambassador, please.
שלום לכם. אתמול בלילה הגעתי לזירת האירוע יחד עם פם ברנדי ושופטת ג'נין פירו. במקום הזה דיברתי עם נשיא ארצות הברית, דונלד רם שהתקשר אליי, ביקש להביע את תנחומיו ואת כעסו על האנטישמיות הגואה בארצות הברית, והבטיח לעשות הכל כדי למגר את המגפה הזאת של אנטישמיות. I arrived here last night after the security forces allowed me to reach the site. I met Attorney General Bondi, Judge Neil Pirro, Chief Attorney for Washington. Ms. Bondi turned the phone over to the President. The President was very firm in his statement, expressing condolence and condemning violence. Asked me to convey that message to the Prime Minister Netanyahu. They spoke just 10 minutes ago. The President reaffirmed his commitment to uproot the violent anti-Semitism that has swept across university campuses in this country. It is imperative to understand that this form of anti-Semitism is not new. It's as old as the Jewish people are. But this form of anti-Semitism takes on a new form. The person who shot these two young people dead last night screamed, "Free, free Palestine." This is done in the name of a political agenda to eradicate the State of Israel. The State of Israel is now fighting a war on 7 fronts. This is the 8th front. The war to demonize, delegitimize, to eradicate the right of the State of Israel to exist. When people say Israel has a right to exist, I say, thank you very much. We're not looking for anybody's acknowledgement. Nobody says that Belgium has the right to exist. Nobody says that South Africa has the right to exist. Israel has a right to exist, a right that goes back over 3,000 years. Long before there was anything called Palestine as a geographic location, there was Israel, the people of Israel, and the land of Israel. We've come home, we plan to stay there, and we're not going to be intimidated by the violence of those screaming on behalf of Palestine. These were 2 young, beautiful people, Yaron and Sarah, planned to be engaged next week in Jerusalem. Yaron bought an engagement ring this week. He was taking his soon-to-be bride to meet his parents, who live just outside of Jerusalem. Their murder will not be in vain. People of Israel's embassy in Washington will continue to serve the people of Israel and to bridge the friendship, deepen the friendship between the American people and the people of Israel. We will not be deterred. We are a resilient people. Israel's resilient. The United States is resilient. Together we're going to stand off and defeat this anti-Israelism and anti-Zionism, which parades around as something along the lines of freedom-seeking. This is not freedom-seeking. Hamas is a death cult. They declared war on behalf of Iran and a ring of fire in order to eradicate us. And this individual here last night was an extension of that ring of fire. They will be defeated. Thank you.
We'll now take some questions. CNN, please.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, and of course I'm very sorry for the loss of your 2 staffers. I was wondering if you could comment on whether you've learned anything, either from the Israeli security services or the American law enforcement, about the writings of the suspect, and perhaps any connection to activists or terror groups. And then more broadly, could you comment on how anti-Semitism around the world is affected because of Prime Minister Netanyahu's war aims of continuing the war to eradicate Hamas?
We don't have any further information. I was here last night with Washington's Chief of Police, the Mayor of Washington, and of course all the law enforcement agencies. The suspect continues to be under investigation. I don't have an update as to the extent to which he was working alone or with others, or whether or not he has any contorted manifesto or something along those lines. I reject your question or the insinuation that anti-Semitism is rising because of Israel's defense of its country. Hamas declared war. Israel is responding to that war. We will not allow Hamastan to exist on our borders. We will not allow an Iranian proxy to exist on our borders. We had our people slaughtered. It's not going to happen again. Hamas has to be destroyed, will be destroyed the very same way that the Nazis were destroyed. These are new Nazis, and we're going to defeat them. Anti-Semitism is on the rise, not because of Israel's responding, but because of countries like France, who under this circumstance, now, tomorrow, plan to propose the unilateral recognition of a Palestinian state. So the French, in their contorted morality under the government of Macron, is going to declare October 7th Palestine Independence Day. This is a contorted sense of morality. They should be ashamed of themselves, and we're going to oppose that in the area of diplomacy as well.
אוקיי, אני מישראל, אנחנו עושים אפשר בעברית פרטים שאפשר לומר על החקירה. אנחנו מבינים שהוא הסתובב כאן זמן רב, והוא ידע ממש לזהות את הנציגים היהודים, זה היה אירוע רב-לאומי.
הוא היה בתוך האירוע, מתברר, הסתובב בתוך האירוע. אנחנו לא יודעים עדיין בדיוק מה הוא אמר, אבל אמר מספיק כדי שירחיקו אותו מהאירוע, יצא החוצה, חיכה לישראלים, עובדי השגרירות, לצאת, ירה בהם, ומזלנו הרב, עוד שלוש עובדות השגרירות הספיקו לברוח והצילו את עצמם. לצערנו הרב, שרה וירון נורו מטווח אפס ונהרגו במקום.
Mr. Ambassador, could you confirm if the suspect was part of the rallies and the protests against Israel we have seen in the last 2 years here in the USA? And how are you going to reinforce the security in the embassy?
We have the full confidence in the law enforcement agencies here in Washington on the local level, on the federal level, and we're sure that they're going to provide full protection, not only for Israel's representatives here in the United States, but for Jewish communities around the country. People must not be afraid. People must wear their Star of David, they must wear their kippah on their heads, they must go forward and indicate to the world that this attempt to demonize and delegitimize and ultimately eradicate Israel and the rights of the Jewish people to the land of Israel won't be tolerated.
Was the suspect part of these rallies in the university?
We don't know at this point if he participated in rallies, but that's a peripheral question. The point of the matter is that on campuses around this country, where ideas, these are the temples of ideas, where smart ideas, intelligent ideas, moral ideas, truthful ideas are supposed to be taught, we have useful idiots running around in support of the destruction of Israel. Let's make one thing clear. If there's any genocide to be spoken about, it's the genocide in the scream, in the shrill scream of from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. That means the elimination of Israel. That's genocide. What we're doing in Gaza is defending our people. We're doing everything we possibly can to avoid collateral damage. Much more than any army in the world has ever had to face. We have 450 miles of underground tunnels that were funded by international agencies, supposedly providing humanitarian funding. 450 miles of tunnels that are being operated by 40 to 50,000 terrorists, heavily armed, hiding behind the skirts of civilians. It's a very difficult task that we have, and we wish to God we wouldn't have to involve ourselves in this battle. But because it's been forced on us, we're going to battle and we're going to win the battle.
1 minute to it.
We're obviously feeling in a tremendous state of pain. These were beautiful young kids who worked with us every day. And the loss is a personal one for everyone. Listen, I got the knock on the door a year and a half ago when my son was killed in Gaza. And now I had to knock on the door and inform the parents of these young people that they've lost their children. It's a very difficult time for us. We're in mourning. But the thing about the Jewish people is we know how to get up from mourning with resilience and move on. We're going to move on. The embassy is going to move on. All of Israel's representatives here are going to move on and around the world. Despite the incessant non-stop. Verbal attacks and now physical attacks on our people.
Mr. Ambassador, Mark Stone from Sky News. Could you tell us a bit more about what Yaron and Sarah did at the embassy? Just reflect on their work for us.
Yaron worked for one of our senior diplomats who works at the political division of the ministry. She's an expert on the Middle East, and he was her senior advisor. He did most of the research. He was just a prince of a human being, very unassuming, very intelligent, very accomplished. Sarah worked in our public diplomacy wing. She did a lot of work with our Christian liaison communities. She held events in the embassy for guests, and they were just a beautiful couple together.
And if I could just follow up, you were very critical just then of the government of France, of Emmanuel Macron. How would you suggest that foreign governments who are concerned, deeply concerned about the Israeli government's methods in Gaza, how should they be critical without, inciting violence, as you seem to be suggesting?
First of all, nobody is more concerned about conducting warfare than we are. We're the ones who are losing our soldiers. And if we could conduct a war without collateral damage, that would be wonderful. Do you know of any wars where there's no collateral damage? The French conducted the wars without collateral damage. Our numbers, as a matter of fact, are much better. Okay? We do everything we can. By the way, my son would be alive today if we did what the government of France and most of the European countries are condemning us of doing. We don't strafe bomb population centers. We do everything we can to avoid collateral damage. So if you want to criticize, first sit down and talk and present an alternative. What you'd like us to do, perhaps, Mr. Macron, is to roll over and play dead. We don't do that. You want us to turn around and leave and let Hamas stay at our border? Would Emmanuel Macron allow for Hamas to be on the border of Paris? We're a tiny, small country. And we can't afford to have jihadis who want to eliminate us on our border. It's that simple.
Mr. Ambassador, Jennifer News, this couple were here last night for an event about peace.
You should get over to the other thing.
Is that not a sign that it's a time to resume talks and ceasefire?
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question.
The couple were here last night for an event about humanitarian aid in Gaza. Is that not a sign that it's time to resume talk about a ceasefire?
We're constantly in talks about a ceasefire. The war could end tomorrow if Hamas disarms, turns back over the hostages.
But it's like perfectly different.
Time from them to the international community.
Yeah, no.
Humanitarian leaders, this campaign will lead to the starvation of the Palestinian population there. Some countries, including France, Israel, and
Okay.
and some countries, notably
job, guys. Good job. Good luck to another video with somebody else. I love it. I love it. See the love. I love it. I love it. All right. Love, buddy. I see you guys. I love that. I love it.
good.
Check 1 2. Mic testing. 1 2 3 4. Podium mic testing. 1 2 3. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm so sorry. I thought I saw you come in. What's your outlet name? Bonu TV. One more time. Bonu TV. That's B. Yeah, this is. Oh, got you. Why? I think I have a pot for you.
Yeah, somebody took it off. I will put it somewhere here. The next day.
Oh yeah, we take them because everybody doesn't sit in the same place. Each briefing.
But can you give me another one, sweetie?
No, I have it. I have it. Yeah.
So
I didn't know you were coming. See, that's the thing. If we don't necessarily know you're coming or you haven't been coming all the
I
time.
was traveling.
Yeah, no problem. Now I see that you're here. So if you give me 5 minutes, I think I have you over here, Victor, but I'm not sure.
No more of those things?
No, they're coming.
Coming?
Yeah. I'm about to bring them out.
Sweetheart, as long as Afghanistan starts with A, Afghanistan's supposed to be.
I don't come up with that part.
Joking.
Oh, yeah. I can do it.
215, huh?
215, yes.
Up there.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, but you're gonna go 145.
Gallery. Oh, for the. Okay. So.
2 o'clock, yes.
Whoever's listening, podium mic testing 1 2 3 4. Testing 1 2 3 4. Mic testing 1 2. You're from a GPA? Okay, because I was like, yeah, I don't think I've seen you too much around, so I was like, gotcha. Okay, testing. All right, I'm gonna.
Testing. This is Gallery mic. Testing. 1 2 3. Gallery microphone for press briefing room. Testing 1 2 3.
Okay.
All right. Next one.
Oh, okay.
so. I think so. Actually, you just want to see the. I say you just want to see the. No problem. Mm-hmm. I think you're right here, Victor. I think that's where they put you. I'll double check. I know you're on this side somewhere. Give me 1 second. Yep, you're right here. Oh, you're right here. But so what's been happening is, for whatever reason, right after the 2-minute warning, you know, when the bullpen trucks come in, if there's seats open, you can't move up.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
did you find my?
is she right here?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so just for now, that's just what's been happening.
Sure.
We're trying to move everybody around.
But if I get empty seat, I can move, right?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
It's I'm sorry.
Secretary out there and briefing right here. This is unusual.
That's what's happening. I don't know.
We were
I've been
told
running
he
around.
has
I
some
don't know.
statement at 2:15.
Oh. I was not told that. I don't know.
When
I might
he
need to
has
go check my
something.
email. Yeah, I might need to go check my email.
Yeah.
Because I've been moving around.
When he has. He told me. Man,
Yeah.
they hold until they finish.
Okay. Well, let's
You
see.
let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me go check on that. I'll go check on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye. Thank you, Andrea.
So still you have plan to go upstairs?
No. She has to check.
But 1:58 send my email.
But
Did you check your
unusual is
email?
when they have an event, they hold everything until they finish. And this is the way it used to be.
I know.
So I don't know what she will find out.
We have the email from the State Department this morning at 9 o'clock actually. Everything is on your email. 1:45 we have to be in the hall and someone will escort us. Already my fix and check for us. If you're gonna go and come back.
Hi.
Hi, Saeed.
No, I went there.
Okay, how about you?
What time they emailed it? What time?
I think 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Yeah.
This morning.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Victor. Hey, so it's just a camera spray. And pick up 23rd Street is at 145 if you want to attend.
So the briefing is still on
Yeah,
time?
the briefing is still on
And
time.
I will be here.
Okay.
Then, so since there is just camera spray.
Yeah, that's it.
We don't have enough of these.
Yeah, I'm leaving them. Yeah, I just said. Yeah, because at least, if for nothing else, at least whoever it is can be signed in. And then, they'll be able, to move, give everybody a chance.
Alright.
Alright. Yeah, not working.
You will email us the statement.
Oh, yeah,
Have you been at the White House?
No, not yesterday. I was there.
At the airport?
Yeah, just to work that.
Wow.
But this time,
While you were with the Nice, nice.
say that we brought the
You went to Antalya, yeah?
brought the high pass, you know, in our past America. So like, right? So that we can do it again. So yeah, then of course we do it.
Okay.
Can I have some coffee? Do you want some coffee?
I'll come.
Hi, Alex.
This is my. How are you?
Good, good. How are you? I sent you a picture from the dinner.
Did you?
Yeah. Did you send my picture?
For dinner?
You got bunch of picture. You
I'll send it.
photographer. Yeah. Oh, salam.
من کشور هستم BBC. من شما فارسی صحبت میکنید.
باشد که باز ببینم دیدار آشنا رو بالاخره یک زمان پیدا کردم زبان پیدا کردیم.
She's like, okay,
من خیلی آدم جالب هستم. BBC بودم سالهای قبل. بعد رادیو آزادی رفتم. بعد تلویزیون آریانا رفتم و 18 سال دارم خوشگل چیز بودم تلویزیون ملی. الان با تلویزیون الان آزاد هستم اما با تلویزیون‌های متعدد گذاشته
خوشحالم می‌بینم.
شما خیلی خبرنگار معروف هستن. اما اینجا نه کم می‌بینم.
کمیه ولی بیشتر به خاطر
گزارش‌های شما رو از BBC می‌شنوم. چند قبل لندن رفتم با کارهای مشغول دیدم. خیلی استاد
خیلی خوشحالم می‌بینم.
همچنان همینجا میباشین
گاهی هستم.
تلفن می‌تونید داشته باشید. شکر خوشحال شدم. Is it late?
Hello, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Craig.
Nice to see you. I'm good. Just breathing the way. I don't think it's 2 o'clock. Did you get any update? No, it's just 4:02 and I was here. Yeah. We don't even have a backpack. Surprise, right? But as soon as we get some and see, we can move them. Yeah, how are you doing? Good, good, busy. Busy, yeah, right? This is a lot, right? Okay. So we get so many phone calls over the situation. Part of us follow. What's going on? I'm American, but I work for a UK outlet, so World Media. So you work for British, yeah. British, I'm gonna go in June. Are you? London. Are you in London? That's so nice. There's a large community.
Yeah, I love London.
Have you been?
I lived in London for
So you
years.
travel a lot?
Well, I worked at Sky News in London, so I was a producer there for a long time, and yeah, that's my roots. And
So
my
you-
colleague is my outlet is based at the Commons, so we have offices there.
Wow. Do you have any friends? You need to look and go and see.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to see?
I know, yeah, but I go to BBC sometimes.
Okay.
Afghan service and I've been last
Do you have a card so I can reach out to you? I can ask.
Yeah.
There might be somebody you might want to
Maybe somebody in work.
Yeah, well, maybe that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
My bureau is on the 9th floor.
Oh.
Tenth floor.
How are you?
I prefer to keep the tree.
This was supposed to be early. But you didn't want to be early.
is always fair. We try our best to be helpful to other journalists. I don't have a card actually. I'm really bad about that. Somebody was asking me, where's your website? I'm like, I don't have that either. We just are so old school. Like 1970s style. We're still in the pre-social media world. Thank you so much. What's the language you speak?
The language
Which
is
speaking just
Persian.
Oh, it's Persian. Oh, I want to learn.
Salam, Khubin, you speak Persian. You remember the first day you talked with me in Farsi?
Salam alaikum.
And she did speak very well Persian. Salam alaikum. Sexy lady, salam alaikum.
What is it?
Sexy lady, see you.
Yeah, we work on it. Yeah, I do. I run, I do yoga. I train to be an instructor.
Yoga.
Yeah, okay, so but you have to do the right exercises here, but yeah.
Excellent.
Here, I'll show you something. Ready? Fully exhale everything. Inhale, exhale everything. So nothing left. Now, like exhale every breath.
همو
And
کس
then
پیوان
breathe in.
همین گزانم
And feel yourself
آگادار
lifting up, but don't
من
force it.
آگاداری
Just
اشکانه
let it
نیم
All right,
من چون
now,
ملای
pull your
اوهر
tummy
لای
in
لغای اوفیسر
and
ایخوی
blow out.
شیکاگو لوی توشی تو بوم که محای
Really good exercise. And then we do it.
او روچی
Yes,
عندي
exhale
همو
everything.
روزه وانا من كبو او شيء داري كشيء
Everything in. Right. Now inhale really fully. When you exhale, you're going to push, you're going to keep your tummy tight like it is. Hold it snug and tight and then blow everything out. And then I want you to imagine you're like puppet on a string. You have like your hair held here. Okay? Because what it does is it's going to make your spine really straight.
Yeah, I do, but because
You feel it, right?
and I
Well, we're women too. We and like we're over our phones or over so when I take you breathe. Just don't do anything. Just breathe in. That's all you have to do. Don't try and force your shoulders back. Nothing. Just in and then hold that tummy.
that oxygen go inside, carbon dioxide.
It straightens your spine. Because what you want to do is you fill your lungs fully with air, which makes your spine straight. Yeah, and then when you push it out, you pull the tummy in, which gives you your vertical posture.
Not with pen, just.
So like, you can put your foot there and feel it. Yeah. So
You do only yoga? That's not.
Just do it like a few times a day. And then the other thing you can do, believe it or not, stand on one foot when you're brushing your teeth.
Yes.
And then switch.
No, خم او احساسا خم ناراحت
Give you better balance. Just like stand, brush your teeth.
What about
I don't worry about that too much. Yeah, I love food. I like cake. I like everything I want. I don't worry about it. I'm busy. I'm active, but I don't. But you like what you want to do is you start with just do this exercise, and next time we're in here, I'll give you some more things, right? But once this tightens, you have so much strength, and then you can do more things. You can start doing exercises. You can get a lot more advanced. And the first thing we do is we let this go, and then we take we cause this part of our back to lose the muscle, and so we lose the strength. This is we lose the strength there, and then we have a lot of loss of mobility, and then we have a habit too in our lives that whatever muscles you use, you tend to use them over and over, and not all of them. But just once you tighten the core here, you get strong back.
That your exercise only excellent, and so just breathe.
Well, this right there, I'm saying tighten the part. It's the part with this getting this tight. Yeah, because once you tighten the core, you can do more. But you need a strong core to swim, to do yoga, all those things. You gotta tighten this here. And then I'll give you loads of different exercises. You do something, just this one, the breathing. It's diaphragmatic.
Nazira, is this your bag?
Fill up.
Oh yes, you did. Salam. How are you? Oh, thank you. How you know that that's mine? So I know you. So and this one too.
Yeah, and this is just good for us because as we get older, our balance starts to go a little bit, right?
So should I use from
No, if you need to, but just stand in with it and do an alternate. It's just something, as long as it feels comfortable. Just get yourself in the practice because this is good for your core. Because we let it weaken, right? We let it weaken and then particularly across here, it gets weak. your physio, and then you learn the breathing. You get a taller spine, get your shoulders back. And yeah. And then I'll teach you all these other. There's lots of other exercises, but it's just really hard for women, I think, especially when you're kids. I have 7 kids. So for me, like that's. I have 7. No, I'm not kidding. I have 7. I gave birth to 7 children. So for me, it's like getting that foresight is important. So my youngest is 12, and then my oldest is for me a baby. Yeah, really. At the same time, though, some people yeah, I'll give you a whole bunch of things. If you run marathons. Well, no, because it's not. She's coming. She lives in London. Yeah, well, we get to live forever. I mean, come on. My dad's 80 years old. You're a genius. My dad is 80 and he was a great swimmer. He beat the gold medalist in the freestyle over and over and over again. He's so emotional. He was just a really fit man. Just driven entirely by will, right? Hi, how are you? Just keep going. How was Istanbul? Pick a challenge. Whatever you want to do, just posture. We just kill ourselves. We sit in chairs all the time. We're writing, right? We're writing all the time. It makes us go, right? It makes us do our work. It's not messing with your body. Me? Hi, how are you? Well, I screwed that up, so don't worry. Yeah.
But good luck, thank you.
Usually they make it really fun.
Because you have a big heart, one reason. Because my knowledge, you are very generous. So my own
It's just one thing. I give you lots of other things.
my own perspective.
Yeah, this is good for balance, and then you get to do lots of other things.
What is balance?
Alright, so like I said, all your strength is here. Is for your woman, because you have to have really strong abdominal muscles to keep your back straight, to carry all the weight on your hips and those things. And then you need the balance, because if you want to do yoga, you want to run, all of these things, you need a strong balance. Swimming's good for you. You like to swim? You don't know how?
I like it, but sometimes I go to jacuzzi, just like the customer.
You don't have to be great.
In my country, a woman is nothing. They say just they don't show your body, don't go to
Oh, the hell with that.
And here also people are talk.
Of course they do. They're teaching the foreigners. No. I'll tell you what, I'm a member of a club now far from the White House, and we have a swim, and if you like, I mean, it's not too deep, so you could walk across that thing, it's 2 feet from the other end. No, just come with me. I'm not going. Yeah, just come with me. Come with me. You gotta go early. In Washington? Yeah. Just right in the White House. There's already a gate. It's close to White House. Yeah. What is the class? University. We can do something on a weekend. I'm usually away at weekends. I don't go anymore. No,
No, qui è l'opzione che vuoi mettere
Flying over. I did. How are you? I did eating. Oh, the sheep. Oh, yes. Yeah, it's horrible. They let you in. You got past
So this time he has
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I heard say switches. No? Oh, okay. I'm still late. Please, thank you. So they're all around and she's told me that they're going to be here today. But he doesn't have a And it's also
No, focus.
I know.
Thank you so much. Oh, I didn't go to the lecture. I left. I left. It was. The whole thing was easy. Even without going to the lecture.
I missed you. I did. I missed you. I don't know. You could not have missed me because of Tommy Pigott. Thank you for taking care of him, being nice the first day and not so much the next day. But thank you, Tommy. Great job. And very, very proud and honored that you were standing up here. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Welcome aboard. Daphne's smiling. That's a good sign. But she's always smiling. That might be a bad sign. I don't know.
We do, of course, have a statement and a few announcements here. And thank you again all for being here. We condemn the heinous murder of 2 staff members from the Israeli Embassy in Washington, D.C. last night. Every day we talk about in this room the aftermath of one of the most obscene attacks on Jews in history. The October 7th massacre was a reminder to the world that Jew hatred and murder is the hallmark of terrorists and monsters around the world. The envy feeding this hate is thousands of years old. It is now the 21st century, and it is time for the barbarity to end. While this obscenity happened in Washington, D.C., we have a president and a secretary of state that recognize the importance of saying, enough is enough, and genuinely, never again. There is a reason why we stand in solidarity with Israel. There is a reason why we stand with our partners at the Israeli Embassy. And there is a reason why we stand with the Jewish people here in the United States and around the world. Because America has a history of not allowing the monsters among us to destroy life, the future, and everything that matters. The Department of State's Diplomatic Security Service is providing ongoing support to the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department and their investigation of this incident and coordinating with other federal and local law enforcement partners. As Secretary Marco Rubio has said, make no mistake, we will track down those responsible and bring them to justice. Our prayers go out to their loved ones. Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky. Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky. May their memory be a blessing. Now, on Capitol Hill this week, Secretary Rubio went before Congress to share how we are implementing President Trump's vision of an American First foreign policy. He made clear that America is back and that securing our borders, making communities safer, and combating criminal cartels are once again key priorities of our foreign policy. He also explained how the fiscal year 2026 budget request for the Department of State will enable the department to deliver on President Trump's foreign policy agenda that makes America safer, stronger, and more prosperous. The budget request in the State Department's reorganization will ensure our ability to respond to the challenges of the 21st century on behalf of the American people. And now finally, ahead of Memorial Day, which I know we're all looking forward to, I want to recognize and honor the Americans who gave their lives to defend our freedom. Their bravery, service, and sacrifice represent the very best of America. The heroes of this country would have preferred long, enjoyable, quiet lives, but instead they answered the call when we needed them the most. Every day that we simply enjoy is due to the sacrifice of the men and women who died on the field. We will never forget those who've given all to defend our country, our way of life, and the American people. God bless all who have served and are serving our nation. And now, ready for your questions? Daphne, yes ma'am.
Following the shooting last night, are U.S. embassies on any sort of special alert or thinking about any change in posture?
I can't speak to security measures that are being implemented or being discussed or decided upon. What I did note in my topper is that, in fact, we are working certainly with the D.C. Metropolitan Police and the security of this building, of American diplomats, of diplomats throughout this city, is of paramount importance to the United States of America. We act on that every single day, and certainly we're continuing to do that today and in the days that come as well.
And has Secretary Rubio had any conversations with Israeli officials or the Israeli ambassador today?
I can't remark on the specifics of any conversations that have been had, but I know that, of course, you've seen his messages, the tweets, and of course we will hear, no doubt, again soon about the nature of what's transpiring. But I can tell you that he is, as all of us are, is heartbroken. We're all affected by this. It is something we deal with, in a sense, of course, every day. This administration, the Secretary's work, the President's work, and often I don't know how they do it. I have maybe 40, 45 minutes with you guys twice a week, and these are issues that are existential all the time. And I know that, again, my work is made easier because I know the people running this country care about life and about the condition of our lives. And so that's the most I can say, separate from certainly specifics of who they're speaking with. All right. Yes, Adria Mitchell.
Hi, thank you very much. A couple of questions about South Africa and also Sudan, if you don't mind. In South Africa, the State Department is empowered legally with deciding when a genocide exists. Has there been an investigation that supports any such contention, because there is no credible evidence from any authority on the ground there, in their government, in NGOs, or elsewhere that we can find to support an allegation of genocide, that white farmers are at all as disadvantaged as the crime wave there that is a problem against blacks in much greater numbers, and proportionally even greater numbers than whites. The fact checkers have shown that the white crosses were put up as a protest against the criminal movement and against the death of the farmers. The crosses and the burial were all part of a protest against the criminality, not as described. So what information was given to the White House, if any, by the State Department, by the experts in the field, to support what was described as an ambush widely around the world of a South African visitor who had a celebrated background as a leader of a biracial government and someone who was jailed with Mandela and who has been one of the civic leaders of a new South Africa, as troubled as their history has been, as troubled as their current situation is?
Well, I would say that, as we all knew, of course, the president has been very vocal about his concern about the violence, the nature of what's been transpiring in South Africa. The president did not come to the United States of America unaware of the position and the posture of the president and of the Secretary of State and of his administration. So I would argue against very much that there was some kind of an ambush. South Africa also has been facing a dynamic where there's been regular criticism, ranging from not just the collapse in some ways when it comes to the violence in civil society, but then the referral of Israel with the ICJ for the issues of genocide while ignoring Hamas, cozying up to Iran, the general choices that they've made. In the meantime, also, of passing a law that has allowed them to take property, to possess property of white Afrikaner farmers with no reason. One element is equity. And so when you're passing laws like that target a group, ostensibly sending a message to the population that these people have a price to pay, there's something that they need to be doing, that they deserve to have their land taken, combined with the chance of kill the Boer, the massive rallies where encouragement of violence is prevalent and is at the core of it, in addition to the associations South Africa and its president have chosen to make, like with Iran and their actions against Israel. It creates a picture that is worthwhile having a conversation in the Oval Office. And that is, I think, it is the transparency of the president, certainly both leaders aware of what the concerns have been and what the arguments have been. So I don't think President Ramaphosa was somehow surprised or shocked at the fact that we have an honest man who's in the White House who's spoken and continued to speak about violence and the trajectory of South Africa.
Well, what I'm just suggesting is that the facts matter with the credibility of the president, and that as it was explained in the Oval Office, and it has been explained elsewhere, that is a minority party, a protest party that is legally permissible, but that the white agricultural minister said in the Oval Office, that's why we joined the coalition, to make sure that they didn't get into the parliament, that they don't have power. They've been, opposed.
In the nature of the weeds of something like that, where that individual, you saw also the larger video of the thousands and thousands of individuals in a stadium framework. And I think that what Americans in the world and what South Africans see is a movement and an attitude that is not only not punished,
But it's not a majority
reinforced,
movement.
but Andrea, reinforced with a law that says, oh, those people that you're calling to have be killed, yeah, let's take their land. Who does that? Who does that in the midst of that environment? And I think that when we think about, I'm not certainly going to get ahead of the president. President Trump is someone that the world knows, says what he thinks and acts on what he thinks. But I think that it was very clear, and he's been clear, as has the secretary, about the problems with South Africa, the nature of the signals that it sends, the quality or lack thereof of life, the fact that we have taken in refugees, very basic standard of looking for asylum, they've met that standard, and it's more than just complaining. It is about acting and finding
Well,
an
now that you
element
brought
that
that
where
up.
we can make a difference for those people.
Taking of the land, first of all, it's with judicial review when it has happened. It's not
Now,
that.
let
it's
me
not
correct
that
you right there,
frequent.
Andrea, and then I'm going to move on. This particular law they tout has not even been implemented yet.
That's correct.
This is, so it's not about judicial review. The law, if you have a judicial review of a law that says there is no standard, well, then you'll have judicial review of no standard.
But they have not taken
All right,
the land.
but this, and it is in part, I would argue, because of the global attention that has been placed on them because of President Donald Trump's attitude, his comments, and bringing attention to that framework in general. That is why that hasn't been acted on. And I will move on,
No,
but I think I've been clear. Yes, Matt, I think you have probably something to say. Yeah, Andrea, you've had 4 questions. I've answered them. You've asked in depth. We are going to move on. Yes, sir. I'm sure others might have the same sort of question. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Tammy. Two, I think, should be quick ones on sanctions. One, can you just explain the discrepancy or apparent discrepancy between what Secretary Rubio tweeted last night on Venezuela sanctions and what Special Envoy Grinnell said? The Secretary saying that the Chevron waiver would not be extended, and Special Envoy Grinnell saying it would be. And then just secondly, on Syria sanctions.
Sure.
Just what's the status of the relief that the president promised last week? Thank you.
Well, I can tell you that the secretary did put up a tweet making it clear where we stand on Chevron, which is a license which is due to expire in May. And what I will speak to is not what others have said, but certainly the people who are in charge of the nature of what we're doing, and that is Secretary Rubio, making it clear that that license is going to expire. And so that's what I take my lead from is his remarks in that regard. So there's no confusion. I think many people on every issue can have a lot of opinions, but I think clearly who we look to are the people who have the power to have the impact and who make the decision. And of course, this is at the direction of President Trump as well. About Syria. Yes, it was a very exciting moment. I was in Riyadh and in the building when President Trump announced that he was lifting the sanctions on Syria. That is something that we've discussed, and many people have wondered when that would occur. And clearly the president decided now was the time. And I do know that, of course, there's a team of people who immediately started working on that, who are working on it now. There is, of course, it's worth noting that the president has some powers in the nature of what can get done, but sanctions are administered through different departments in this country. So his was a message, and certainly the order to reverse our dynamic, to remove the sanctions, which involves departments like the Treasury Department. So it is a process that will take some time, but as we know with the Trump administration, that they've sped up the train a bit. And they understand the importance of getting things done quickly, and that is the intention of getting things done quickly as they take the order from the president from that afternoon. And we're working on it. It's been a week. But I do think, because of not just the urgency, but they understand the urgency, but of the recognition of this administration, the government as a whole, of how the president works, that things have to happen and should happen as quickly as possible. So all I can say is, without a specific date, is it will be done quickly, and certainly more quickly than we're used to.
Thanks.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Secretary Rubio said in one of his hearings on the Hill that he had met with the World Food Program in Rome.
I just want to get clarity on whether this means that the current U.S. policy is for the UN's leading food program, leading food organization is like that they will remain the main food provider for Gaza, hence his meeting with them, or whether that
You're
doesn't-
reading an awful lot into a meeting.
It would be good to
that
get
you've heard
more
about.
detail on it.
Sure.
Given there's a lot of reporting on heated conversations between humanitarian aid organizations, discussion over this new Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, and I've got one more after that.
Sure. Well, Secretary Rubio visited with Cindy McCain, who leads that program. And he doesn't visit personally to shut something down. It was, from what I know, a very good meeting. I cannot share the details with you, as you might imagine, but I think that regularly we should view the nature, and certainly after the rhetoric the Secretary's used and the actions that the State Department has implemented when it comes to our continuing commitment to life-saving aid around the world, and certainly food aid, is that I would have expected, since her office is in our embassy at the Holy See, that is a meeting that should have taken place and did take place. And I'm looking forward to the nature of that kind of a conversation and what can come from it. And we'll see. But it was that entire visit was very good. I think very certainly we went to the inaugural mass with the Pope. But overall, it was a recognition and a commitment, seeing this from the Secretary, being there as he is a practicing Catholic, but also knowing how each part of his work mattered and also was implemented on that trip. The nature of what the importance of Italy, the importance of the Vatican, the importance of faith, and the nature of his work in the process. And of course, that meeting was part of that work.
So it's just part of looking at options.
I'm not going to speculate or guess. I'm a little psychic, but not enough for that to answer that specifically. A little psychic, but well, nothing you want to know. But it's don't speculate on that. But I do think because of the speed in which we work, we will all see the intention of the Secretary, the nature of what's happening with the World Food Program, and under certainly the leadership of Cindy McCain and what her intentions are as well. So
okay,
we're
just
looking forward to
quickly
it.
related.
So you had some more. You had Sudan.
Just one on Gaza
Yeah,
as well.
well, Gaza,
on this,
yes.
Gaza Humanitarian Foundation.
Sure.
There's reporting about private security that would be used for this new foundation. I just want to understand if this administration is okay with private security personnel for a foundation like that, presumably of which they'll be armed, going into Gaza, and presumably some of the personnel for that private security would be American citizens. Just want to understand what the
watch out when
stance
you use
is
the
on.
word presumably. Watch
I
out.
mean, looking at other private security firms and what they do, and some of us
Well,
have worked
I
with
think
them.
that, yes, it's good that you're concerned about security. We all are. And that's been one of the problems we've had with Gaza, is the ability to move food aid and medical aid through an arena that is not thinking as you think. They are not concerned about safety. It is about terrorists who've been keeping food aid and medical aid from the people of Gaza, and that has impacted our ability to move all that aid, the aid that we've wanted to move through, that we would do only when it was safe to do so. So our concern has been constantly about safety and what we could achieve in that environment. That's the point of ceasefires, is to have safety. So I would, with that being a standard, that we will support having things move in if it can be safe, that having a security service is important. I think we all would agree. I won't get into the details of how it's being managed, but because that's the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is private and operates on its own. But clearly, when it comes to what one of our core elements was, which is that we support all of this, if it can be moved in safely and securely and without falling into the hands of terrorists and the people who are causing death and destruction in that area. It seems like they've structured something that can manage that is the equivalent of something that we can all agree on, and they're moving forward. So that's the story, is that we've been able to do it, we being humanity, that it's something that all of us have wanted to see, which is a movement of
if they
aid.
use private security
You need to call them. When we speak about private security, what I look at as the story is that we've managed or expect to manage a security that gets food and medicine to the people who all of you have wondered about whether or not they're going to get it. That's my story, and that's the story of humanity and the people of the Gaza Strip. Yes, sir.
On Iran, Mr. Witkoff is meeting with Mr. Arakchi tomorrow in Rome. Both sides have been stressing on respective positions in the past few days regarding enrichment. Do you see a chance to have a path forward towards compromise or not? And if I may, a second question.
Can I answer that one so that we can, and then I won't lose you, don't worry.
Thank you.
It's like we're on a slide, you're hanging on. Yes, what I can say is that we've made it clear on every project we're working on, certainly including Russia and Ukraine, that our involvement is really because we feel we can make a difference, and that's why we do it. This additional meeting, certainly the 5th round of the nuclear talks, would not be happening if we didn't think that there was potential for it. And so I would say that clearly we believe that we are going to succeed. We've also been very clear on some basic things, like they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They've been very clear, most of our leaders have been, who've spoken on it, that this is about no enrichment, and the Iranians are at that table. So they also understand what our position is, and they continue to go. So we feel something's good enough for us to continue this work.
Second question. Secretary Rubio this week at the Senate Foreign Relations Committee said that the past 4 meetings have been focused on enrichment only. So other issues like the Iran's support for the proxies, which is like a concern for the regional countries, are those issues going to be discussed later on, or are they going to be part of another round of discussions?
Well, I'm not, again, part of the negotiating team, won't discuss what might be the plan, but just like an issue of needing a ceasefire before you discuss what the land is going to look like and what the nations are going to be doing after the fact, there's points that you have to get to before you discuss elements that might not even be a factor if you can't get to the bright line that allows us to move forward. And that bright line has been enrichment, certainly not getting a nuclear bomb, and those things have to be addressed. I say this because that's what I've seen them do, and being very specific, which is fabulous because nobody's guessing at what the goal is. But of course, considering the generational issues involved, this is, and the president has said this about everything he's worked on, with the generational issues involved, that these cannot be solutions that last 6 months, or are able to be broken in 18 months, or in 3 years, you know, your 15-year-old is suddenly pulled into a war because now they're 18. That these have got to be enduring, fundamentally changing arrangements that only Donald Trump can bring because of the nature of his attitude, his vision, and because of the support of the American people understanding that this was a factor. So I would say, well, I'm not going to go on from that. I think that'll be it. Yes, but yes, go ahead.
The U.S. sent some migrants to Djibouti, and I'm wondering, are you in negotiations with Djibouti to accept these people, or are you still trying to get them to South Sudan, who say they won't take third country nationals? What's the State Department's role in this?
Well, we know that, of course, the Secretary's been very open about the fact that we are negotiating with a number of countries to facilitate the deportation of people who are here in this country illegally. I can say also, as the Secretary's noted, that we remain unwavering in our commitment to end illegal and mass migration and bolster America's border security. I won't discuss the diplomatic conversations, which clearly is part of this framework, with specific countries here. I would also point you to Caroline Levitt's remarks the hour before my briefing here, where she noted a court order required the flight to go to Djibouti, and I know the White House has more details on the framework involving that. So we're currently just in the sense of handling this in an immigration posture. Certainly it is a reflection of our continued attitude and position, and I don't think that this situation is certainly in the courts, which I can't remark on, but we're familiar with having to make our arguments in a variety of arenas, and this is one of those times, and But I know Caroline had more specifics.
In South Sudan, there was a dispute before with them for not taking somebody, and you guys stopped issuing visas. Has
Right.
that been resolved?
Yeah, the visa situation remains the same. Yes, we reacted in that regard because they had confirmed that this one particular person was a citizen, prepared to take him back, and then that did not happen at the last moment. And so our response was, when you're having a diplomatic negotiation with a country, you're going to respond to certain situations. We can say that in the midst of that, in the aftermath, our posture on visas and all of that has not changed. And we've noted, of course, regularly that we monitor their behavior, their attitudes, which of course continues to matter to us. But we also are currently accepting certain diplomatic and official visa applications, and if eligibility is determined in that regard. And we do that, as always, on a case-by-case basis. So at this point, I have nothing more to report on that, except that it is still in place. Yes?
Just as a quick follow-up on Iran, two Iranian sources told my colleague Fred Pleiken, who's currently in Tehran, that they are concerned about the sincerity of the United States heading into this next round of nuclear talks, and they think Trump is steering the conversation towards deadlock. Obviously, the administration has said that they want an Iran nuclear deal, but is there anything you can shed light on in terms of the dialogue between the two sides that might be causing unnamed Iranian sources to tell us this?
Unnamed Iranian sources? No, it's not. That doesn't interest me. It's gossip at that rate. Certainly when we have, and we've said repeatedly, to not discuss this in the media because it makes things harder. Everybody has an interest in all of our negotiations doing well. Some people don't have an interest in that. And that's where you get unnamed sources from, I don't know if there's an Iranian National Enquirer, maybe there is, but that's not something that I'm going to take seriously. What is the story and what matters is that everyone is at the table in Rome.
And what is the intention of Steve Witkoff going into the talks
Well,
tomorrow?
it's very clear what I've also just said a little earlier, and we've said in multiple briefings. The goal is to end the inability for them to have a nuclear weapon, to change and end the enrichment of their nuclear program, and the intentions of that nuclear program. So it's a significant structural change in what Iran thinks it's going to be doing, and that's the negotiations. I think they've been very clear about what the intentions are.
And just one follow-up on a different topic, but this is just coming out now from...
oh, not another one.
Homeland Security. No, don't
Not
worry.
another one.
Not like last time.
Okay, good.
But Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says that DHS is now terminating Harvard's ability to allow any foreign students to enroll in the university, saying in a statement that the administration is holding Harvard accountable for fostering violence, anti-Semitism, and coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party. This is obviously a program that isn't run out of the State Department, but some of these J-1 visas are issued by the State Department. So can you shed some light on this decision by the administration?
We've seen those reports, and we're looking at them, and I can't answer that immediately, but as soon as we might have an answer, I can get it to you. I'm sure that when we get our answer, we'll get it to everybody. But yeah, so I've seen those reports, and I would also refer you, of course, to DHS and to Secretary Noem, who might have more details and more answers for you. Saeed, nice to see you again. I hope it's nice to see you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Yes,
really
sir.
Two quick follow-ups. One on Andrea.
Yes.
On South Africa, and then one on Gaza.
Sure.
On South Africa, you said that the president was also influenced by what South Africa has done in terms of referring, its role
Well, I said we all
with the
have
ICC.
been. We all have been, yes.
Yeah, well, its role with the ICC.
Yes.
Just to clarify that. So he was, because South Africa referred Israel to the ICC.
Well, I did not say for a specific event
Right, I'm
that
just-
influenced him. I don't speak,
Right.
President Trump is a very clear man. No one has to wonder his position. But I think for all of us who've been looking at the condition of South Africa, it's never just one thing, is it? It's a number of things. I'll finish. I know you might not be liking my answer, but I'll finish. Saeed, it is a series of things that point to the intention of an administration or of a regime, and it is usually consistent. So if you're wondering about the nature of why it matters that people are at a huge stadium shouting "Kill the Boer," which are for those at home, the Dutch descendants of the settlers of South Africa, and who are white farmers. Combined then with the government that says, oh, we reject that, they're not part of our government, would then pass a law that allows the government to take the property of those very same people simply because they're white farmers. So that speaks to the intention of a regime, in addition to their behavior with other nations, their foreign policy, how they would view the victims of October 7th, the Jews, as those who should be referred to a criminal court versus Hamas, in addition to having a rather cozy relationship with Iran. So you don't need to be in a seminar at Stanford to understand and to recognize the trajectory of South Africa. That is the argument for those who are looking at that, again, beyond one issue. And I think those issues speak quite loudly.
And very quickly on Gaza.
Yes.
Now, the Israelis are saying they allowed maybe 6 trucks or 9 trucks, we don't know. And international agencies say no trucks were allowed in. Could you clarify if you have the information? Have any trucks been allowed in? The number of trucks, if you know the number, and so on. And what's next in terms of figures and numbers?
Well, I won't share numbers with you, but what I can tell you, and you know this, having covered this situation, that Israel's been honest about the nature of what it's been doing and why, as it fights for its security and in its own defense. There's, if you're getting a report from Israel about the nature of what has moved into the region, I would suggest that you should take that report seriously. I think that everyone knows that the eyes of the world are on that region, and at the same time, the story is, what I would argue, is, as opposed to the numbers, is the fact that aid is moving in to Gaza. And it's interesting to me, Saeed, that is something that I've talked with you, and we've even had some sort of fights about, and that isn't something that has been recognized, but I'll do that recognizing, and that's what the real story is. Yes, sir, in the back.
Thank you, Tammy. Kurdish delegation led by KRG Prime Minister Masoud Barzani is in town. They have signed 2 energy deals with the U.S. companies valued at $110 billion. These 2 deals have been rejected by the Iraqi government. I'm wondering if you have any comments in reaction to that, and do you have anything to share with us about his scheduled meeting with Secretary Rubio tomorrow?
Well, I can tell you that we were pleased to see Prime Minister Barzani sign massive deals with U.S. companies to expand natural gas production in the Iraqi Kurdistan region, which will help Iraq harness its own domestic resources to become energy independent, which we've, again, talked about. It's really great. We've talked about these things. Often I can't give you answers. We don't know when it's going to happen. And then to be able to report to you that it has happened. And that is a key administration priority. And being energy independent is obviously a major national security issue. So these deals, I think it's like over $100 billion.
110.
And yes, that's what we've all been working for. So we support these deals, and we have encouraged Baghdad and Erbil to work together to get gas production to commence as soon as possible. At the same time, we have, of course, the declaration that these are null and void, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is the kind of shenanigans that can be a problem. But we also know that, I'll give you a sense of our relationship with Kurdistan. The Kurdistan Regional Government Prime Minister and his visit to the United States signals our desire to strengthen the U.S. relationship with the Iraqi Kurdistan region. And as you've noted, Secretary Rubio will meet with KRG Prime Minister Barzani to discuss expanding trade and investment between the United States and the Iraqi Kurdistan region. He has also stated, Secretary Rubio, that we support the Kurdish autonomy and the U.S. companies doing business there, and urge the government of Iraq to respect this economic lifeline that is necessary to prosper and succeed. We believe that U.S., Iraqi, and Iraqi Kurdish interests are best served by having a strong and resilient Iraqi Kurdistan region within a sovereign and prosperous federal Iraq.
Thank you so much.
All right, yes, sir. Yes.
Issue.
Well, I won't have much more, but you're welcome to do
You
it.
deferred to DHS, but in a
Sure.
bigger picture, presumably the United States wants to attract the best and the brightest insofar as foreigners, students, immigrants. And these top-tier universities are one of the most prominent ways to do that. So do you think prohibiting Harvard to enroll foreign students kind of gets in the way of that goal?
Well, again, I can't speak to Secretary Noem's plans and strategy and her decision to implement this. What I would argue is that we have an interest as a nation, as President Trump has spoken to quite often, that we have an interest as a nation for these universities that are supposed to be the gold standard to actually deliver people who are educated and can function in society and on campuses that encourage a learning environment as opposed to one of left-wing activism, where you have individuals leaving the university level in this country as our rates are declining when it comes to comprehension and reading and a whole host of other things. That it has to be more than just a label or a brand. It has to deliver results for the families that do pay a lot of money for it. And I think that there's a point, as you've seen, I think it's obvious from the Trump administration, with the federal money that flows into those coffers and the nature of the kind of talent. You can speak about foreign talent. Let's speak about American talent. You've got a wonderful kid who's done very, very well, and then you send them to Harvard, and a kid comes home, and you don't even recognize them. And they're definitely primed to be a fabulous left-wing activist, but they're maybe not going to be able to get a job. And so, this is a recognition and movement that universities around this country are recognizing that American families have standards. We spend money so our children can be educated in the normal function of life, and we get kids back who have not received the kind of education we expected. COVID highlighted this for many of us, but I think that this opens up a conversation, as it should, between the federal government and the universities that we rely on and have been proud of, that we deserve to be proud of them again. And if we're going to speak about who we rely on for the best and the brightest, there's plenty of American kids who also deserve to be taken seriously. And I believe that we can handle all of them properly. Yes, sir.
Thanks very much. My question is on U.S.-India relations. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and President Trump both are very famous in India. As far as the U.S. policies are concerned, most Indians agree with both of them.
I hear you're pretty famous in India.
Yes, I am.
All right, keep
My
going.
question is, Madam,
Yes, sir.
as far as terrorism against India, recently in the state of Kashmir is concerned, innocent Indians tourists were massacred.
Oh, yes,
there.
we all know that.
Yes, ma'am. My question is that as far as talking with Pakistan is concerned, India's Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, and also Foreign Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, both met with the Secretary Rubio and President. What they are saying is that as long as terrorism is continue against India, what they said by Pakistan supporters inside, that they have training centers inside Pakistan.
Well, here's what I can
Talks-
say,
sorry.
and this is, and I understand your point, and what has been a generational concern about violence and terrorism in that region, certainly with the troubles between India and Pakistan, is that there is a ceasefire. Obviously, we know that we're very close to a full-scale war erupting, and what's very exciting and heartening is that America's involvement and assistance made a difference in that stopping, and a ceasefire that has continued. But of course, within that, one expects, as the world noticed again, that has not been resolved, that the potential of having these long-term problems resolved has returned, and it is an opportunity. And the good news is that, unlike some other regions, there has been a commitment to a ceasefire that makes, is that my alarm? Thank you. I should ask you to put on your alarms. It's like, all right, Tammy's done. All right, we're gonna have. We're good. All right, we'll have one more, and the green jacket in the back. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Tommy.
Make sure her mic is on, just as she's in the back here. The sound here is.
Two quick questions, do you have any update on the peace deal agreement between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, when we will see this peace deal signed? And also, can you tell us if both President Ramaphosa of South Africa and President Trump finally managed to overcome the difference, and we will see United States and South Africa working together?
Well, I'll answer that one first. I think the meeting with the South African president in the Oval Office speaks to President Trump's generosity. And the fact that any leader feels comfortable going to meet him, even with difficult conversations, and sometimes the problems that happen between two nations with different attitudes. So the fact that it's President Trump means, of course, there's always hope. It means, of course, there'll always be something for the future. And speaking of the DRC and Rwanda, another very good example of something that has been a generational issue, that we are, again, it's a long process, but they are taking the steps that we've asked of them to take, and that's also very promising. We can look for an update when it comes to what the new dates are and what else is expected, but what I can tell you is that continues. Another great change and dynamic. Sometimes, though, people forget and don't continue to ask, and I appreciate that you did, because there isn't any drama, because that things are changing for the better. So it causes less news, right? There's less interest, but it's worth following up as we watch these particular issues resolve, as, of course, the news is taken up by other issues. But this administration is committed across the board to peace, and prosperity, and it seems the world's giving them a lot of chances to act on that. We do one more? One more, yes, sir. My Italian friend right there.
Two more.
Thank you. Indeed, one is on about Italy, actually the Vatican. So
I was there. Beautiful place.
I know you were there, and there was also some conversation with Parolin, which is the Vatican Secretary of State. So are we seeing those conversations because we also have an American Pope that can actually better deal with our president? And how close are we to actually the negotiation at the Vatican? And then I have a second question on Russia.
Yes, obviously the condition of the world existed before our new Pope Leo. I'm not a Catholic, but I'm very moved by the nature of that faith, and it was just a beautiful experience to be there. But I can tell you that, of course, the plans and the conversations with the Pope himself and certainly other leaders there was important. It always would be. If you're going to be in Italy for any reason and you're the leader of the free world, the Secretary of State of the free world, you want to meet with these people. This is why they're in their positions, is for that reason. So I think that's it's not because Pope Leo is an American. However, it's pretty terrific, and it's a reminder that your commitment and your faith, and it can lead you anywhere. And so we, of course, pray for him success as he moves forward with his duties. And the rest of your questions?
I have a question about Russia. I mean, not about Russia. I'm so sorry. About the different approach they were seeing from this administration when it comes to diplomacy. We saw with yesterday with the South African, and then with Zelensky.
Well,
and it
I
seemed
think
very
you're
effective.
seeing. I would go as this will be the last answer here. Is that we're seeing different envoys, different styles, ambassadors, the Secretary of State, the President on the phone, because you have to do that when you're not simply setting up meetings every 3, 4, or 6 weeks. That you're having meetings to make specific steps and have specific progress and deadlines because you're a business person and you know what's possible, or you know humanity and you know what's possible. When he says we need to have new ideas for Gaza, as an example, he really means that for everything, for how we conduct diplomacy. The Secretary, of course, is on board with that. It's natural for him. Traditional diplomacy, going, talking, getting deliverables, making sure the relationship is active and alive. And that is how you bond, you make friends, and your relationships with other countries are better. So the Secretary operates in that fashion, but yes, there's a huge difference in that we are on, well, certainly we have now, 3.5 years? You have people who want to make a difference. It's not just having fun in an office. It's changing people's lives for an endurable period of time so that our generation, I'm seeing some younger people in this room, of course, always, but for our generation, my generation, that we can think we did everything we could and have had some success in making things better. That's the Trump administration. That will be its legacy, and it's an honor to be here. And thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll see you on what is today?
Thursday.
I'll see you on Tuesday. The trip. It's like, oh my gosh. I thought I was waking up in a hotel today, but I wasn't. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Great to see you. Appreciate it. Oh, here comes Matt. Yes, yes. Thank you. Everyone deserves it. Everybody deserves it. I'm just looking for one more. Everyone deserves it. Excuse me. Can you cut this? With an education that can take you exactly where you want to go.
You can cut it. Excuse me.